chance to hear it, so let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You can hear with some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to
Good evening, Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
Good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Sabrina Speaks Show right here on CMRTV.com, definitely on your YouTube and other social media platforms such as Instagram and Facebook. It is a pleasure to be here with you this Monday evening. I hope that everyone had a good weekend. I did exactly what that image showed. Let me tell you something. I got some rest this weekend. I also enjoyed the rain. I enjoyed the rain yesterday evening, and it, again, not going into the childhood memory part of it, but it also, sitting down on the back patio yesterday around, I would say 3:30, 4 o'clock, a downpour of rain came. And I was just out there scrolling through, going through podcasts and just enjoying the sounds and the smell of the rain. And it brought me back to fond memories, great raising up in my grandmother's house, which was in a zinc roof. And you know, when you get that good torrential downpour that you literally have to speak over, you literally have to shout in order to hear conversations. But that brought back fond memories of me yesterday evening until I only saw the flash of lightning. Well, let me tell you, it was as though that hit outside the door. I almost made another entrance into the house. Yeah, it was that loud. So, yeah, I laughed at myself after a while. Big old me running. I had to try and get up first because, you know, I got a bad knee. But that was funny as heck, just trying to get away from the noise, which the damage of the lightning, which that's where all the danger comes in from the lightning, had already passed and I survived. But that was funny as heck, me trying to run from the sound. And I couldn't move with the lightning because of the old bad knee. But I'm happy. I'm here. And I hope that you had a good weekend. But it's good to really laugh at yourself. I tell you, I laughed at mine. Hi, Miss Connie. It is a pleasure to see you. Good evening, Marshall. Welcome to the show. Hi, Mitzi. Ms. Ebanks, good evening. Welcome to the show. This evening's show tends to be very informative one, and I hope that the takeaway from this evening will resonate with you. I hope that you'll participate in the conversation. And it's all about really and truly looking at our foreign dependency when it comes to food and so forth. And I thought it was very important, and I want to let you know that was not advertised, that I will be joined by one of our brothers and sisters or other British Overseas Territory jurisdictions. I am pleased to have being featured here a first time on the Sabrina Speak Show, and I'm knowing it's not going to be the last. Thomas Christopher Famous. Yes, he is JP MP over there in Bermuda. And you know the similarities with where we're geographically located. We depend on financial industry and tourism, but the risks are no different in us building relationships with our brothers and sisters across the region and in the Caribbean, of course. Where the Bermudans are located, it's even worse because of where they are. But yeah, are we living on a false sense of security? This is by no means creating panic at all. But these are real talks that we should be considering. I'm hearing a lot of people talking about the price of food when you go to the supermarket, making healthier choices. And there was an article as well that was put out in the Caymanian Compass that brought some staggering stats to the table, and looking at we being, I think, ranked 58th globally, internationally, of importing from the United States. So that is something to really think about, and looking at resilience and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I will be inviting Mr. Famous, JPMP, over there to the show with me in a moment, as you get a welcome you all here. Shaka Zulu, good evening. Happy Monday to you too, my love. Miss Jasara, welcome, welcome. Aliano, oh yeah, that's you. You're right there, front and center. This is a much needed topic. I'm so happy that I met your satisfaction. You know, some of these topics are going to be very difficult to have, Aliano, but we need to have them, because where we're poised or where we're positioned has a lot to do with our own survival, sustainability, and it's not about, we don't want false hope. So that is where we're coming, that's where I'm coming from with this perspective. And yeah, I'm hoping that you will all be entertained or well-informed this evening in regards to where we're going to go. Just let me get my guest to pull my guests back in here. I will bring him in a moment. I'll bring you in a moment. So yes, as we build our viewership here, 84 of you and counting. We definitely want this to 300-400 this evening. Miss Joy, it's a pleasure to have you. Miss Marjorie, hey, hi. Pleasure to have you. You know, I usually start the day off with a positive quote, and I decided today to put this up on the screen for you. Let me just read it, and then we'll get straight into the conversation, because we realize how quickly time flies. Go into this week with the attitude that your peace, your health of mind, and your heart means more than getting everything else done. That your smile matters, that feeling rested matters, that holding the hands of your loved ones matter. So pause lots. Function at a pace that doesn't pull you apart. Honor the things that make you feel good inside, the things that make you feel alive. Give time to those things this week. Make time the gift it is by giving it to what really matters to you. I felt that those were profound. I just found it scrolling through YouTube, and I thought it would be fitting to share that with you here this evening. And yeah, that is how we're going to keep it. Positive vibes, keeping you all in tune as we enter this week. I'm hoping that I'm wishing everyone a productive work week. And definitely I can see you just piling in here. Hi, Miss White, good evening. Yes. Miss Donna, welcome. Chris Lopez, yes. Yes, I think it would be prudent to explore direct supply relationships from other producing territories. Central America, Jamaica, the present U.S. administration is very self-absorbed and quick to turn on allies. We should be looking to diversify our food supply. Well, we're definitely going to hear more about that. We're also going to hear about it from myself and Famous, from where we stand. And tomorrow, I can assure you, we are going to be joined by one of our big supermarket chains here. Mr. Woody Foster has agreed to come on to the show to get it from his lens as being a service provider and what challenges, logistics they are actually going through. And again, this forum is about educating, informing, and we can have open, wide discussions about this topic, but we don't want to be one-sided, either too far right, too far left. I felt it was appropriate. I want to thank him publicly for accepting the invitation. He will be on with us tomorrow evening as we explore this topic even more, but seeing it from the perspective as being a grocery store owner here in the Cayman Islands. Without further ado, let me welcome my guest. Good evening. Good evening, Famous. Hi, welcome to the show. How are you?
Yes, good evening, Honorable Turner. Good evening to the Cayman Islands, Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman.
That's right. You
Thank
got
you
to
for having
include
me
all of
on.
them. Yeah, it is a pleasure to have you here with us. And I'm quite sure this will not be the last we'll be seeing and talking to you in this forum as we continue to build the CMRTV.com family and looking at the relationships that we have and the similarities pretty much alike, just that we're geographically located different places on Earth. But the challenges are no different. You're a British Overseas Territory jurisdiction. I'm quite sure your challenges are the same when it comes to cost of living. And
Oh,
being an MP, you know what your people hold you accountable for. How do you navigate it? But is it a false sense of security looking at what our brothers and sisters in the Eastern Caribbean are doing, trying to build in that relationship, almost kind of insulating themselves for what could be a reality with imports and exports to and from the United States of America with the talks of tariffs. So I felt it was so good for you to accept the invitation as we just, bounce off of each other with what is a reality, not to provoke fear, but just having real talks.
yes. The reality, thank you for having me on. Thank you, Miss Sandy, the godmother. I mean that literally.
That's right. That's right.
um, and congratulations on your show. I watched it from its embryonic stage to now, and
Thank you.
you're a fast learner.
Yes.
In
No other choice
regards
with
to
Sandra.
yeah, kick you off the deep end, run point. Here you go. Um, in regards to specifically, well, I won't say specifically, but in regards to consumer items, the unfortunate reality of our development as Caribbean islands over the last 50 years, we've
Mhm.
become addicted to importing everything, right? We
Right.
want Kellogg's, we don't want grandma's porridge. We want filet mignon, we don't want goat meat.
Mhm.
It's our taste over the last few years
Mhm.
have and what the clothes that we wear, the type of stuff that we have in our houses. We want everything that they have in Florida, for lack of a better
Mhm.
term. And that
Mhm.
addiction is good in some ways, but in other ways we are paying dearly for it because in Bermuda, in Cayman Islands, and in most of the Eastern Caribbean, 90% of our food is imported now.
Mhm.
Um, truck you have in Cayman Islands and other, well, I don't know if it's Cayman Islands, but in most of the Caribbean islands, there's a shipping line called Tropical Shipping Line that
Mhm.
um, delivers 90% of the food stuff. The
Correct.
Caribbean on a whole, in totality, spends over $10 billion per year on importing food items from primarily from America.
Mhm.
So that's where we are, and you may compare prices in different islands, but at the end of the day, it eats into a significant portion of everyone's weekly or monthly income.
Correct. Correct. Now, we have tropical as well. We have a number of local owned shippers that come, but looking at our infrastructure right here with the port, that's a whole different show. That too is something that we're importing, whatever hits the US, because we're so reliant on imports from the US. It's very hard for us to navigate around not passing that on to consumers. Literally, less than 3 minutes before we went live, I got breaking news. CNN New York reported that right now eggs were through the roof, but we're going to be paying more for beef. They have seen a steady increase right now since January. And I quote, now beef prices are heightening records, raising almost 9% since January, according to the Department of Agriculture and Retailing for $9.26 a pound. June's consumer index showed steak and ground beef prices were up by 12.4% and 10.3% respectively over the past year. So when we're talking about what we're facing, that's the reality because of the very same importation of all of this stuff. You can't make this up when you have your business operators trying to keep up with demands, having to import this stuff because we're just not being able to self-sustain with cattle farming, agriculture in order to keep up with the demand. So it's almost we're between the devil and the deep blue sea. Would you agree?
Well, we put ourselves there. We when I say that collectively, I live in Bermuda. I was born in Bermuda, but I grew up in various Caribbean islands, and I've seen the transition from those islands being agricultural
Mm-hmm.
to tourism related, and now in Bermuda and Cayman Islands, financial services, right?
Right.
And we have, because we have gotten away from growing our own food, whether it be
Mm-hmm.
livestock or whether it be vegetables or fruit, we all of us have to eat. How many times a day you eat, what you eat is all variable, but all of us have to eat. And
Mm-hmm.
because we don't have enough local food stock, we are dependent on importing food from America. So whether
Mm-hmm.
it be the price of going up, whether it be the price of beef going up, whatever goes up, right? These multinationals
Mm-hmm.
in America, Bermuda and the Caribbean are a small percentage of their market, right? So they're looking at, well, we have 300
Scale.
million potential customers in America
Mm-hmm.
and Canada, and collectively the comes to maybe, I don't know, 10 million, right?
Right.
Well,
Right.
more than that, but um,
Hypothetically,
so we don't have purchasing power to buy in bulk like a Walmart or Costco's
we don't
and
have it to scale.
and bring down the prices. So
Mm-hmm.
I suspect, sorry,
Go ahead.
right. So I suspect when you have Mr. Woody Foster on tomorrow, he will be telling you that, listen, we have to pay. We're being I'm gonna put words in his mouth. The grocers in small islands are
Mm-hmm.
being extorted by big distributors in America, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, in regards to that, this is why I'm seeing more and more the talks of that came out of the 49th CARICOM conference that took place earlier this month in Jamaica, that they were talking and they're galvanizing themselves in the Eastern Caribbean, making sure that they can look at trade purposes and the power of just becoming resilient and finding other means of surviving, sustaining, being able to lower the cost. Now, where we are geographically located for the Cayman Islands, the closest full-fledged CARICOM member state is Jamaica for us, and we have had excellent ties with that small island state from the time we begun. What are you seeing with that, with you guys over there in Bermuda, that would actually, you want to be a part of it? You just alluded to the fact that we lack the purchasing power, yet we have our brothers and sisters
Mhm.
regionally see it galvanizing in other in ways of diversifying where they're purchasing their food from.
All right. So if you take your mind back to a few months,
You're into, oh, I think we're losing you. You're spotty. Um, Excellent
where all of us will
conversation.
be. Hello.
Yeah, you're coming in and
Yeah.
out.
Can you see me now?
Yes, go ahead. Continue speaking.
Okay. Let me try to change. All of us were being threatened by tariffs on ships a few months ago, correct?
Yes.
Where the United States government, aka Uncle Don, wanted
Mm-hmm.
to put a price of $1.5 million on each voyage, which would have brought up our cost of living exponentially. So the Caribbean islands, what they started to realize is like, why don't we shop elsewhere? And they started to have discussions with Dominican Republic and places such as Brazil that actually produce their own food, and we
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't not have to be as dependent on America as we are presently, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's a like that was like a contingency plan that did not get enacted because America said, hey, we won't charge you no more because they realize how much money they'll be losing, right?
Right.
Um, so, but apart from that, CARICOM has a program called 30 by 30, which means to say by the year 2030, the goal
Mm-hmm.
is for CARICOM nations such as Belize, Jamaica, Guyana to produce enough food to that we are producing at least 30% of our own food needs within the region. Because if you look at a map of Guyana, right, Guyana can literally hold every Caribbean island geographically and still have space left over.
Right,
And
right.
Guyana has a population of less than 1 million persons. So they have plenty of space to become the breadbasket of the Caribbean islands for the Caribbean islands. So that is the goal that collectively that CARICOM is moving towards. Also knowing that in Brazil, I keep saying Brazil, Belize, we can do the same thing. And if you look at Jamaica, Jamaica has a lot of land space.
Correct.
But unfortunately, less than 5% is used for agricultural purposes.
Interesting facts. But the
So
mere fact
that's the goal
that, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
The mere fact that they have identified these things, even ease of travel, moving from one island to the next to lower even the cost of travel is just amazing. Even though that may not benefit yourself or the Cayman Islands, because the closest point by air for us would be Jamaica, the risks are the same. Would you agree?
The risk in what way?
The risks of being hit by these tariffs and having not being able to sustain should things go the opposite direction based on our high number of imports.
Yeah, and I think even more than the tariffs is another thing that we have to look at in the long run. If I'm not mistaken, you have a medical background, correct?
Correct. I'm a nurse, former nurse.
Right. So we have these things. The bigger, even worse than price, the immediate price what we're paying at the grocery store is the price we're paying in NCDs, non-communicable diseases, right? Our eating habits. We in the Caribbean are literally eating ourselves into our early grave, whether it be through kidney failure, whether it be through hypertension, whether it be through diabetes, you name it, renal failure, eye glaucoma, whatever it may be. And a lot of this is because of the foodstuffs that we are eating. We are eating food that has all these preservatives. We don't know what is being put into this food wherever we're buying it from, right?
Right.
And as a reason, that is the healthcare cost, right? I suspect the healthcare active scale the same as Bermuda, right? Because we have so many people having amputations, so many people on dialysis, and a lot of that stems from eating too much processed food. So even more than bringing on the immediate cost of food is increasing the quality of the food by having non-GMO foods produced in our own region and from the farm to the table within a short period of time.
Right. You know that the Cayman Islands did an exercise called a STEP survey that pretty much chart the course and knowing based on local data, the health of our country. And the numbers were staggering with the current state of affairs. And what it yield is the projection for the next 5 to 10 years, maybe even longer. The quality of life is going to be significantly impacted if we do not address those non-communicable diseases based on the data that was collected. You mentioned a high blood pressure, heart disease by hypertension, diabetes, even those persons who have end-stage renal disease having to end up as dialysis patients. You do not have to succumb to these non-communicable diseases, but your quality of life based on choices, access to pre-healthcare is key. And you're quite right. Our culture, the type of food that we're getting, the high process in food and ease of what you choose to put in your body. But another thing that was pointed out, it's hard to eat healthy when trying to eat healthy is so costly? Goes back again because we're importing inflation.
Well, I would say yes, it's very or more expensive to eat healthy, but it's going to be even more expensive to be on that dialysis machine where you lost productivity. More expensive than your doctor saying, "Listen, we got to cut off a toe." Month
Mm-hmm.
later says a foot. Couple
Mm-hmm.
weeks later he says a leg. Right?
Mm-hmm.
More
Mm-hmm.
expensive than we're going blind because of glaucoma.
Correct.
So we in the Caribbean, we have to have come to Jesus moment when it comes to our not just our quality of life. We all like to say we got life is much better for our children than it
For
was
ourselves.
for
Mm-hmm.
us, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the point now where I think my children are worse off, not financially, but worse off in quality of life than
Life.
myself, because
Mm-hmm.
they have known is eating American food, right?
Mm-hmm. Pulling up to the drive-through.
When I say my children, meaning our children's generation, that's all they
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Do you find then in
So
Bermuda that they're more quick to adapt the American style of life than remaining true to our very own culture, which would then why our grandparents, great grandparents may have lived longer, that they had more stuff that was farm to table.
we have fully succumbed to the American way of life in what we eat. If you go into our grocery stores, there you will see the same items that you see in any American grocery store. Right now, a Bermudian family of three is paying the equivalent of roughly $400 US a week for grocery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at what you're getting for that amount of money, is not much. And then, like I say, you're eating all this crap and Kellogg's and microwave food and so on and so forth. So the price is going up, the quality is going down. But that's
Mm-hmm.
just the accepted norm in Bermuda at present.
Trust me, there's no difference here in the Cayman Islands. It looks like what $100 could get you. Even let's say a year and a half ago, it's not giving you the same mileage, and people are opting for quicker meals, but it's not necessarily healthier, which is why this conversation is so important for us. And we're going to have to look at public-private partnerships and how we can assist those supermarket chains in trying to lower their costs, because they still have to bring it in. But it's going to have to be a quid pro quo way of doing business in order for our people to get better access, even with our agriculture people, our local farmers. That industry here in the Cayman Islands is still growing. I don't know how it is over there in Bermuda, but you alluded to it, that you're not providing sufficient fast enough based on the demand. And with all of the trends, I'm seeing now what's trending, this all meat diet, this high protein diet. And in the same article that was posted in the Compass, what is actually driving up the cost is people's choices in how they want to eat. And we're more going on a higher market of consumption, but we're forgetting that we have the middle and lower income people as well that are still paying the same prices at the supermarket. How, that's what I'm interested in hearing tomorrow.
Mhm.
How do you create the balance where everybody has access to it, but not breaking the bank in trying to be healthy? So that's going to be interesting tomorrow, to be honest.
Yeah, recently in Bermuda, we had about a month or so ago, we had a cost of living summit.
Mm-hmm.
And the cost of living summit, where we had not necessarily government talking, but yet those who are actually actively involved in the industry, i.e., grocers, real
Mm-hmm.
estate agents, bankers, so on and so forth, who address what is the cost of living. Now, specific to the cost of food, what the grocers said um, was that, listen, before it even reaches our store, it goes through the manufacturer, a trucker, the
Mm-hmm.
distributor, then somebody else, then the shipping. And at each point, there is a cost for this. No one's doing anything for free, right?
Yeah,
No
yeah.
one's no one's being magnanimous and say, hey, yeah, I just ship that stuff for free. Let the Cayman Island people have a break. Um, the price of shipping, the fuel goes up, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So the point that, and I suspect you're going to hear this from Mr. Foster tomorrow, that by the time he buys that gallon of milk from Florida or wherever he gets it from,
Right.
he's only making he's gonna say something in the region of we are only making between 3 to 5% profit, net profit off of this. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Now, some may say this may be just a conspiracy for all of them to say the same thing. But let's
Mm-hmm.
just say it's not a conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
So if the grocers or wholesalers are only making 3 to 5%,
Mm-hmm.
all those other costs is beyond our control as a government or as consumers,
Right.
because we can't control what Kroger's is selling a pound of beef for tomorrow, right?
It's true.
What you as the individual can control is how much beef are you eating, how often you're eating it, because you got to deal with all sorts of things such as carcinogens, all of that's in there. But that's
Mm-hmm.
again that comes down to personal choice, right?
Right.
You can go down to the place by Lobster Pot there in Georgetown and buy fresh fish,
Mm-hmm. Fisherman's Bait.
or
Mm-hmm.
you could go to Foster's and buy imported salmon. It's
Mm-hmm.
entirely up to you, but
Right.
know that there's a price immediately and there's a price long term for what you're going to pay for that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, this personal choice has a lot to do with our overall quality of life in the Cayman Islands. And we already know, no different than Bermuda, how high the cost of living is. So when you try to
Mm-hmm.
educate your people, our people, that it's not just a snap of a finger, cost of living adjustment is multifaceted, because even looking at government incentive programs to assist our merchants, for example, to assist our people in our agriculture, that was hugely talked about in the last campaign, lowering the cost of energy, hoping then that that would have some return savings. But you rightly said, for every person or company that touches that product en route to you picking it up as a customer, there's a cost. So it'll be very interesting to have a roundtable discussion to really see how we can tackle this, but in a sustainable manner.
I to be frank, Miss Honorable Turner,
Mhm.
we're at a point of there's very little any government is going to be able to do to contain the cost of food. For example, you might be able to lower some duties, and if the grocers pass it on, it may come down, but it's not much. And any I would say this as an elected MP, as you
Mhm.
were, any MP that comes to you and says, or potential MP that comes to you as the consumer and says, vote for me and I'm going to bring down the cost of groceries,
Mhm.
I would say candidly, do not trust that person because they have no control over the cost of groceries.
Mhm.
They may have costs over land tax or something like that, but not groceries.
In hindsight, now that will definitely come to head tomorrow when the true conversations are being had. But during the whole season, it's saying what sounds good, but in reality, now that we're seeing like this breaking news about the cost of beef, we're still seeing what happened with the cost of eggs, and everyone was panicking. I'm glad that you were very candid in saying that, because it's not, in all honesty, here in the Cayman Islands, as the group, and then being an elected member, we did explore ways of trying to make it easier at the till. Now, to just come blatantly out and say that, no, we did suggest ways of lowering the cost of doing business to these supermarkets and
Mm,
looking at other ways on even import duty. But again, the first cost, we could have duty free on, we did that on baby items, sanitary napkins. There were some other stuff that we made duty free, but people really didn't feel it at the till. And that is where the whole conversation of consumer protection came in, because they couldn't understand why certain things we had actually, as a government, said no duty on these products, feminine products, baby needs, even for elderly. But they were still cheaper if you took a flight to Florida for a weekend and brought back some of these things. So in order to understand it from the merchant's perspective is why I thought it was important tomorrow to actually bring on someone like Mr. Woody Foster to really break it down to see what they're up against, because it's hard for you and Isa, well, for me as former MP, you an MP, to really try to appease your voters that it's not that easy either.
Yeah, I think shows such as this and the cold hard truth, which Miss Sandy has in the mornings, is important to tell people the cold hard truth, right? The cold hard truth is we may look at grocers such as in Bermuda we have three main chains. In Cayman Islands you have Foster's and I think Thompson's. I think.
Yes, there's
I could be
Kirk's,
wrong, but you
Foster's,
have
and
Foster's.
Hurley's. Yes, three.
We may look at them and say, right, sorry. We may look at them and say, look at their price gouging. They're just raping the people. Excuse me, sorry, excuse me, I shouldn't have said that. They're just pillaging the people, and that's the knee-jerk reaction. But we have to, in a clinical way, break down these things. Let them come in and explain this to the people. And when people hear the truth, they may not like it, right? No one likes to hear the price of beef is going up. But when you explain, we have no control over that. Here are the reasons why. Tropical has increased their shipping costs by 2%. The truckers in America, the Teamsters Union in America, the shore workers have now gotten a raise. So all of that is going to have a domino effect on everything, right down to the grain of rice that we buy.
Correct.
Everybody's going to be affected. So we have to, back to the original, not original, but back to the other thing, is start looking at different sources. If you go, if Mr. Foster, I don't know where they get all that stuff from. So if he says, well, look, if I brought beef from Brazil or beef from Argentina, it's going to cost me less. Okay, maybe we go that direction. But do we have the shipping logistics to get the items
direct?
Right? It's a lot of things, and I think the more that we one of the things that the premise that I have as a MP is that I'm here to educate myself first and foremost, and share that same education with others, not out of my mouth, but allow the subject matter experts to come on and explain these things to people and let people understand. You could change governments tomorrow in Bermuda. The price of rice is still going to cost you the same. The price of electricity is still going to cost you the same. The price of real estate is still going. Most governments cannot control the cost of living. That's the reality, right?
Right. Now, understanding the sheer size of Caribbean small island states and the purchasing power by coming together as one, I know for a fact that our very own Minister of Agriculture, Minister J.E. Banks, who is still the current minister in this administration, he actually had forged in a press release stated that he had built stronger ties with our neighbors in Jamaica. I know that we brought in more chickens to do an egg farming to try and do that. And he was also exploring opportunities as well between Honduras and Nicaragua, in that region. Now, being around the table, even as an associate member state, the Cayman Islands of CARICOM, being at the table and exploring these other options of getting, let's say, produce and meat products or proteins in and seafood, how important you think that is for all of us to just be unified and kind of looking at diversifying where we're getting our stuff from? How important you think that is to the people?
No one, there is no downplaying the power of unity. As I said, the Caribbean region on a whole, we spend upwards of over $10 billion per year in goods primarily out of America, right? If you use that same buying power in places such as Dominican Republic or Brazil or
Right.
Honduras, I can guarantee your money is going to go further. The problem is that number one, there's a list of, I shouldn't say problem, challenges. The challenge number one is that it isn't the governments that are purchasing food. It's private entities. So, for example, in Bermuda, one of the major chain stores is Linda's. In Cayman Islands, it's
Foster's, yeah.
In islands such as the Virgin Islands is Right Way. These are all private entities that have their own relationship with distributors in America. No government can tell them, listen, Woody, you got to start buying from Honduras. You got to start buying from Brazil. You could tell him that, but then he'd be like, okay, so how am I going to get the goods here? Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that one. You know what I mean? So the point I'm getting at is that collectively we need to do it, but it would have to entail private entities coming together as well, not just the government. CARICOM could say whatever,
right?
But unless these private entities come together, we are going to be, we have a saying in Bermuda, united we stand, divided we fall.
Divided we fall.
As long as we're divided like that, we're going to be subject to that. Now, I want to personally take a moment, right? And please forgive me for what I'm going to say. I want to personally take a moment and thank Donald Trump for letting us understand how vulnerable we are, right?
Because I think that deserves one of these.
Right. Because I personally, this is the what it is, cynical side of me, right? I personally wish they would have put this tariffs on us, so we will be forced to go elsewhere and say, "Bye, America. We're gonna buy our stuff from Canada, or we're gonna buy our stuff from Honduras, or we're gonna buy our stuff from wherever else." Right? Sometimes, as people, we don't. It's like as a medical professional, you see people when they stop listening, when they haven't listened to the doctor, when they haven't taken the medication, when they haven't did their daily exercise. It's already too late by that point. And that's where we are at this stage, where as a
critical, we're critical.
Right. What where your triage nest. You're like, well, didn't you all think you should have brought that food from Brazil? Yeah, but it was so easy to get it from Florida every week. Of course it's easy. That's how they're gonna make money. So the region has, even in the aftermath of the tariffs not being imposed on us, the region has now said, listen, in Guyana, we need you to step up the production of one product. In Brazil, in Brazil. In Belize, we need you to step up the production of this product. And so slowly but surely, the region is producing more of its own, but it's still not enough to be sufficient.
Right.
Self-sufficient, sorry.
Correct. So looking forward, where do you see that getting us? You, as elected members of Parliament, which you are, I am now, of course, providing this platform. How do you actually strike that balance with being very candid with people and the importance of working together, breaking down of silos that maybe even you're hearing a lot of terminology being used, the strength of geopolitics and just coming together. Looking at it from domestically, how do you then transition, even how you communicate to those people who are voting?
Well, to be quite frank, it's the power of shares such as yours, right? Because the governments, elected officials, they come together, every 6 months, every 3 months. They come back and say, "Oh, I was in blah 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 place and met with blah 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 person," and that doesn't really mean anything to the electorate because they're saying her Jay goes again spending taxpayer dollars. Oh, Kenneth's going over taxpayer dollars. It's the power of social media and persons such as yourself, persons such as Miss Sandy, and others who come along with CMR TV, who have the power to reach not just Cayman Island persons, but persons across the region and educate
Correct.
them and make
Correct.
them number one, make them realize where they have to change their habits. When they change their habits, whether it be spending habits, eating habits, that is the true power. You're and I don't want to be being an affront to anyone, but you're actually in a more powerful position now than you were 6 months ago, right?
You said
Because you
that.
can be frank.
Sandra realized that. Yes. And Sandra realized it as
Right?
well. Hmm.
Right?
You're
Because
quite right.
listen, right? I have my own in Bermuda. I have my own radio show and online show, of which I'm grateful for spot on CMR,
Right.
and I can reach via that medium. I can reach more people in a capacity of a talk show host than I can ever can as a politician. Because think about it. You were formerly in Prospect.
Yes.
You're right. So in Bermuda, our politics is divided primarily along racial lines, right? If I wear my political hat and I go to one area, oh, we don't want to talk to Chris because he's wearing that political hat, right? If I take off my political hat and I have a talk show where I have a third party on bringing that information, they're not listening to Chris, They don't listen to that third party who's informing them. And they're like, oh, man, where did I hear that before? I better start doing this. I should start doing the other, right? Because remember, some countries, right, not necessarily the Cayman Islands, in
Right.
some countries, depending on who's in political power, they may very well be some of the biggest parties may donors may be these supermarkets, right? So they'll be telling them, listen, calm down that talk about stop eating this, calm down that talk about don't do that, right? Let's think about what's we talk about drugs, right? Drugs as in illicit drugs. What is the biggest drug in the whole world from a healthcare? Sugar is the biggest drug in the whole world.
Correct.
Right? And anyone selling products, sweetened products, sodas, all that type of thing, they want to make their money. If you tell people stop drinking sodas, you say that on a continuous basis, they're going to lose money.
Yeah.
But you have some countries where the sitting political government is in the pockets of food distributors, right? So politicians cannot be candid about what they really need to tell the people, because they're going to find themselves getting pulled into the office saying, hey, you can't be saying that in public. Just let everything be cool, right? So I'm simply saying to you, I'm encouraging you as in the position that you are in, to be brave, to be forthright, continue to bring in subject matter experts, because it's not Sabrina talking.
Correct.
It's your subject matter experts that are talking.
Correct.
And that is how we encourage and most importantly, empower our people,
Mhm.
right?
The
And
why
maybe
is
somebody
this.
today,
Mhm.
sorry, go ahead.
The why is the foundation. The what will always change. The why
Right.
is why I created the space. The what will always
Mm,
change based on the topics. And, when we're looking at artificial intelligence, I think the world is actually changing now. It's emotional intelligence that we actually need to be paying close attention to. And that just broadens everything. And I thank you for noticing the power of exactly what you stated. Chris could be talking all he wants. The minute you get somebody else from a different jurisdiction could be saying the exact same thing, your people will start to listen. It's pretty
right.
sad, isn't it, how humans are wired?
All right. Let me give you a real life example. In my party, it's the Progressive Labor Party.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we lost an election in 2012, and um, in some ways it hurt, but some ways it was needed because we had an
Mm-hmm.
opposition party, the One Bermuda Alliance, that came in, and their entire mantra
Mm-hmm.
was cutting civil servants' jobs, all right, cutting back on scholarships for our children, cutting back on seniors' pension, and their biggest goal, they said we need to be more like Cayman Islands and liberalize our immigration and give away status, right?
Wow.
And that caused the people to rise up where we literally for 1 week we blocked parliament. For 1 week we had
Mm-hmm.
1,000
Mm-hmm.
people block parliament. And the,
Mm-hmm.
the, the leading proponent kept on saying, well, look at Cayman Islands. They're so successful. And the people down there have no racial tension between them. And the locals have plenty of land and all of this, icing on the cake sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I took a trip to Cayman Islands in 2018 and I had the shock of my life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I say this, and I'm not trying to be abrasive. When born and bred Caymanians or generational Caymanians came to me and said they want their government, whoever the government is, to be have more protection for the locals,
Mm-hmm.
cut down on the amount of status grants and so on and so forth. So I use that as an example to say when you have a government that is controlled by big business, that they want to see population increase so they can sell more items. They want to see population increase so they can sell more real estate. They want to see population increase so they can sell more gasoline. If that is the overall motive of the private sector, depending on the integrity of the government of the day, the
Mm-hmm.
people are either going to prosper or the people are going to suffer. And I say that in the sense that I've been to Cayman Island once, but I literally live in Cayman Islands every day because I listen to CMR. I have so many Caymanian friends that keep me informed of
Right.
what's going on there, right? And I'm
Right.
glad to see some measure of, what can I say? I don't want to say change in direction, but redirection when it comes to some of your immigration policies,
Mm-hmm.
some of
Mm-hmm.
your
The
training your
reform that.
own people policy,
Right.
right?
That's been huge.
Because
And I know that the people are going to hold this elected government accountable for some immigration reforms. And that has been cried for quite some time. Now, engaging and striking that balance, it's just going to take grit and the power of listening to the people in order for that to be effective and come to fruition.
right, because I'm also the chairman of the Bermuda Housing Corporation, and similar to
Mm-hmm.
Cayman Islands, we have an issue now where a large proportion of Bermudians cannot afford to earn house.
Right.
They landlords are now favoring renting to non-Bermudians instead of Bermudians. So a lot of young Bermudians can't even get on the rental ladder because like
Mm-hmm.
a one bedroom now is starting price is $2,500 US.
Mm-hmm.
That works out like that's what $2,000 Cayman dollars, right?
Right.
Um, and we don't have the land space that Cayman Islands. Bermuda is only 21 square miles. with a
Mm-hmm.
population of give or take 60,000 persons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we so I say that to say a lot of if a lot of the major challenges that you all have in Cayman Islands are
Mm-hmm.
almost replicated what we have in Bermuda. And
Mm-hmm.
and our governments need to work closer. Our um, talk show hosts need to work closer because that's how we inform our people, right? It's
Correct.
not going to be through some dopey press release from the government that doesn't inform the people. That just that attempts to make a minister look good, right?
Right, right,
You
right.
it's persons such as yourself and others, and I'm so grateful again for the opportunity to speak to your audience this evening.
Sure. Likewise. Now, just looking forward, have you noticed with you having your own space in order to create that platform to educate and inform, do you find any reluctance in people actually being guests on your show, knowing that you are a sitting MP?
No, because Bermuda is a close knit society, everybody is related somehow
Ah,
or the other or know each other.
hmm.
And I have two separate shows. One is a radio show and one is a online talk show.
Right.
The radio show is actually myself and an MP from the other side of the fence, right?
Oh, oh,
So
nice. Yeah.
we are co-hosts. His name is Dwayne Robinson, and
Hmm.
so we have persons from his party come on, persons from my party come on, persons from civil society, wherever. So we we've that show is now 5 years old. The radio show is 5 years old. So
Hmm.
we've created an environment in that anybody that wants to come on,
They
if
can.
you have something of value to bring, you are welcome to be a guest. Sometimes I make, like last week we had the deputy opposition leader. So I said, I think this is the week that I'm gonna take a little break. So because I don't want to get into the bickering online with him. But we create a safe space, for lack of a better term, that
Correct.
anybody can come on and help educate
Hmm.
the people. Right? We've had a
Hmm.
lot of guests from Cayman Islands, Corleone. We've had now Minister Michael Miles. We've had some journalists from uh, Cayman Compass have been on. We've had Mr. O'Connor from Radio Cayman. We have
Hmm.
had on numerous occasions before. We have had MP Kenneth Bryant on. He was a guest on several times.
Hmm.
But we
Hmm.
haven't had Honorable Sabrina Turner on as yet. So I think we need to do that.
Hint, hint. I got the message. It's for us to
Yeah,
lock it in.
yeah.
Yes,
So
I'm
like I
looking
said,
forward. Yeah.
it's not about projecting my political agenda. It's about empowering the people, and what you find, what what you're going to find, right? I can almost assure you what you're going to find during the course of your show.
Hmm.
By the time the next election comes, if you so desire, there are going to be more people asking for you to run again because you've helped to
Correct.
educate thousands of persons in your country.
Hmm. Right,
They're not
right.
going to see you as having the agenda of whatever group it is called today.
Hmm.
They're going to see you as having the agenda of the people of the Cayman Islands, right?
Right. I think
So
often
that I find
sometimes
that.
I think
Sorry, go
often
ahead.
sometimes we're misunderstood because we're a little ahead of our time in the way we actually present ourselves. And in hindsight, they
Mhm.
realize persons may actually realize, OMG, that's what was being said. That's what she was saying. But to be honest with you, I feel that I'm perfectly placed where I'm at right now, and I can't see me actually going back to that life. I'm loving this, Chris. I that means a lot to me,
Well,
but I'm loving exactly what I'm doing right
well,
now. Mhm.
well, all I will say, honorable, right? Because whether you're elected or not, you are honorable. All I will
Thank
say,
you.
honorable, is that people will be asking. It's up to you whether you answer the call
Yes,
again
yeah,
or not,
that's
but
fair.
people will be
Right.
asking because right. Like, just think about it, right? I've watched. Maybe I've been overtly addicted to Cayman Mall Red, but I watch the debates,
Uh-huh.
right, religiously, right? And I'm
Right.
looking at the Chamber of Commerce debates. I'm looking at them and I'm saying, they're not gonna make it. Like, you
Mhm.
almost predict just by the answers or the lack of answers from some
Correct.
persons who is and who isn't truly about progress for the people, right? Or they just coming with a binder and they're reading answers off of a binder, right? But
Uh-huh.
so I encourage you to continue to educate the people, and I would do whatever I can to help you get other guests from other islands, because
Appreciate it.
Bermuda is just one island. There's so many other islands that can come on and help to educate,
Correct.
bring their part of the story, and you will see that we're the same people. Our dialects may differ, but everything else is 90% the same. I may say Bobo in a different way, not today Bobo in a different way, but it's all the same.
Yeah. Like I said, it was quite interesting, the tagline that was chosen for this. We're voices of the islands, conversations for the world. And just this just proves it. You sharing your stories based on your platform, you're seeing how one, I just got tossed into this new chapter. And coming from where I'm coming from as a former MP, it's amazing what we can do just by the power of, look at how easy it is to just connect with you, and you're in Bermuda and I'm here in the Cayman Islands. So it's not impossible to make
Mhm.
change with the power of technology right now, and for everyone's voice to matter. And I feel that's going to be critical in the up and coming election, even though we've just had an election. I think spaces like this will be critical for decision making, and people will be looking for persons like yourself and myself to assist them in not
Mhm.
really making their decision, but definitely educating. And I think that will be key.
Well, there was saying in Bermuda, we was seeing people would say, so when's the next election? And you're
Hmm.
like, the next election started the day after we just won this election. That's when the next election started. But irrespective of whichever side you're on, I mean, in
Right.
the Cayman Islands, you have various different entities, or uh, uh, what they call that, in
Parties.
you start to move away from independence into parties, right? Bermuda,
Yes, yes,
our
we're still
system has
trying
always
to.
been a party system, right?
Hmm.
And you have good-hearted people on all sides, right? And
Hmm.
what I would say sometimes is that we get caught up in whatever color we're wearing, to say we
Yeah.
dismiss what person has to say because they're wearing red, or we dismiss
Hmm.
what this person is saying because they're wearing turquoise or whatever color it is,
Correct.
right?
Right.
And when you have platforms such as this, it allows you to um, invite guests on whatever color they wear,
Doesn't
and
matter
let
where they
them
stand party lines.
let
It's
them have right,
right. Yeah.
right,
It's the
interaction with
subject that
people.
matters.
Um,
Hmm.
right. What I will say in regards to CARICOM is that I would encourage the present administration and ministers to be more involved in CARICOM, because a lot of times that we have CARICOM meetings, there are 15 full members.
Members.
There are now 6 associate members,
Hmm.
and Bermuda, Cayman Islands, Turks and Caicos Island, um, and
BVI.
Montserrat, and
Curacao.
now
Hmm.
Martin.
Hmm.
Right, right.
Hmm.
Not Curacao. Yeah, Curacao. No, Curacao is a associate member now, right? And
Yes.
Martinique, who's a French Caribbean island, want to be a associate. They're supposed to be an associate.
Hmm.
A lot of times when we have these meetings,
Right.
that we're looking around and like, hey, where's our Cayman cousins? Where they at? Where they
Oh,
at? Where they
wow.
at? They didn't bring, and so I would in a very passive aggressive way, I
Mm-hmm.
would encourage the Cayman Island representatives to attend these CARICOM meetings because the subject, not every subject matter is applicable to the associate members, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
every subject matter is going to be applicable to Bermuda. Not every subject matter is applicable to the Cayman Islands or VI. But what
Mm-hmm.
is applicable is that we build that network amongst ourselves, right?
Correct.
That we build those relationships that any given day I could pick up a phone and call the premier of Virgin Islands. Any day I could pick up the phone and call the premier of Turks and Caicos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just to say happy birthday or whatever. But
Right.
the point is that we, the British in their infinite wisdom, programmed us to be divided amongst ourselves, right? They are not going to encourage us to unite. We have to do that ourselves, and it starts with just having these basic conversations. You might not 90% of what might be discussed at a CARICOM meeting may not be applicable to Bermuda, but 100% of the people that we're networking with, right,
Yeah.
are applicable to how we have moved our government forward over the last 8 years.
Right. Wow. Well, that's good, and I'm happy
I
that
I
you
came
actually
I
brought
came
that
to
out.
the Cayman Islands in 2000.
Go ahead. There's a delay. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm saying when I came to the Cayman Islands 2018, it was MP Dan MLA Kenneth Bryan who gathered up everybody from the old territories that came and said,
I'm losing you.
we didn't know who Woody was. All right, can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yeah. Now.
Right. So I'm saying MP MLA Kenneth Bryan gathered gathered us up, person from Bermuda, Montserrat, Turks and Caicos, and the Virgin Islands, piled us all into his truck and took us to Woody Shoe, right? And that bond that we formed on that day has lasted almost 10 years now. We are all not, some people have stepped away from politics, but we are all friends and we're able to pick up a phone at any time and call each other for guidance, for assistance, for connections. Hey, I need a number for so and so. Yeah, sure, here it is. And that
Right.
is really what, as you know, as an MP, it's not the big policies that matter, It's the small
Correct.
little interconnections on a day-to-day basis that make things work.
Correct. Correct.
So again, I'm going to use this avenue and encourage the current administration, right, to actively be a more active part of CARICOM. You have nothing to lose by doing so.
Well said, and I'm quite sure they will listen, and I'll definitely get the message across. So that's for sure. If you notice on the screen, one of our viewers have posed a question. What does your guest feel about the UN C24 regional seminar being held in the Cayman Islands?
So UNC 24 is the United Nations Committee of 24, which is to I think to do with decolonization, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And the C24 is we as the overseas territories, right? That's a fancy name for saying well colony, right? Let's
Mm-hmm.
just be frank. We are right behind you on that flag, right? You may on one side you have the he that's fond of the sea
On the
seal,
seas. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but on the other side you have what Jack reminds you that you are a colony of United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in different countries there's different appetites towards decolonization. In Bermuda, there's a very small appetite towards decolonization, and I want to say in Cayman Islands, maybe even smaller appetite. However, you'll hello.
You just froze on me. Okay, just go ahead. There's an appetite was what we heard. Then you froze.
Right. So I said in different islands, there's different appetites towards independence. And I
Right.
would say, to what I can see, most of the overseas territories are not interested in independence, but we're not interested in being constantly dictated to by someone from the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So the C-24 is actually a good thing that it allows different dependent territories from around the world, non-self-governing territories from around the world, to get together and discuss things that are going on. Again, it's networking.
Right.
So I am in full support of that.
Now, what do you say to those persons that thinks just because it's being hosted here that we're on this trajectory of, let's say, they're coming here to make sure that we are not pro independence just because it's being hosted here. You want to get the right message out that this is exactly what you said. It's a networking opportunity. And the Cayman Islands was a place chosen to have this conference.
No, I would say that's a misconception because as overseas territories, the only path to decolonization is via referendum, right? A government cannot wake up one day and say, "Hey, guess what, guys? We're getting independent." No, and until the majority of the people via referendum want independence, I don't see that happening in any overseas territory at present. So
Yeah.
what I do think it is that it should be an opportunity for the government and for the people of Cayman Islands to understand what better self governance should be about, because you have Puerto Rico is a colony, the
Right.
U.S. Virgin Islands are a colony, Tahiti is a colony, right? There are colonies all over the island, all over the world, and we have to understand that what we are going through is the same, not necessarily the exact same, but it's similar to what other islands are going through. That you cannot pass a piece of legislation unless the governor gives royal assent, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had at one point in your constitutional order, the governor had power to put in a piece of legislation and tell you how you're going to vote on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not that's colonization. That is not democracy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the C-24 helps to educate people on better ways of self-governance, if not
Mm-hmm.
independence, but better self-governance, right? Um,
Well, go ahead.
and I see the comment, and I think people at times always use Jamaica and Haiti as examples of why you shouldn't be independent, and then you say to yourself, "Well, what about all the other independent countries?" You can't just use what you deem as worst case scenarios as to why not to be independent.
Mm-hmm.
So I would that's all I would say about that.
Now, we have a lot of maturity, and I'm quite sure you have small island mentality as well, where actually negative information gets out quite quickly. With the way in which technology is going right now, in your role, my role as content creators and actually creating a platform for this, how challenging do you see that being, understanding the dynamics in small populace? That news gets around quite quickly. There's no difference here in the Cayman Islands. How do you find that being? Do you find it as a challenge? Making sure that the right information is actually conveyed, even if it has to be repeated more than once, because not everybody will get it at the same time.
Right. So exactly. Not everybody wakes up at the same time, right? But everybody sooner or later has got to wake up. We as small island politicians or small island leaders, let me you take the word politician out of the equation, because
Hmm.
you are a leader even if you're not elected at present. As
Hmm.
small island leaders, we have to take every opportunity we have to rinse and repeat the message. get others
Right.
to rinse and repeat the message. So it's no
Mhm.
longer Sabrina's message. It's not Chris's message. This is the message.
Right.
And you would, I'm sure it's happening now, even in your formal capacity. You can't go to a grocery store and just walk in and buy a pound of grapes and walk out. No, 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 no. Somebody's stopping you. Oh, Miss Sabrina, I need your opinion on this. Oh, Miss Sabrina, I saw you on TV. Oh, Miss Sabrina, I
Yep.
heard you in the radio. I need your right. So even if you're not gonna get the immediate response, there's
Right.
residual response that when people see you in public, right? How you carry yourself in public, right? Somebody, I cannot go to a restaurant without somebody saying, I don't know this person from Adams. They're gonna call me over to the table and say, hey, I listened to you on the radio the other day, and what you said was making sense, or your guess was irritating me, but I guess what they were saying is true,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
We have to see our small islandness, for lack of a better term, as is actually
A plus.
an advantage to us, right? Because when people, it's small island, oh well, they might not know you directly, but they knew your grandfather, right?
Right.
Or their grandfather was half brother to their grandfather, whatever, right? So your
Right.
family. So you use that from familiarity as, again, if you're coming with the truth, right?
Mhm.
Not just your opinion, but if you're coming with the truth, you use that small island familiarity as that pivot point to say a fulcrum where, yeah, I can now get my message. I could get the message out even more because
Mhm.
you're in different chat groups, you're in different neighborhood watch groups, whatever it may be, and that
Right.
one message, one flyer, one thing with a message, right? It's gonna circulate, as they say, it's gonna go viral, right? So use
Mhm.
that,
Mhm.
you utilize it all the way.
What do you feel as small island, the Caribbean, small island states, that we could have done much more sooner if we had just, what do you think may have been some of our biggest mistakes or shortcomings in why some of us are where we are today? Do you think that we've made some mistakes and just unified? I'm hearing that more than once as we engage today, coming together. We're seeing what's happening. Do you feel that it was really too late and almost we got to give a salute to Donald Trump?
Um, well, that was the one salute. You're not getting any more. Well, um, we we were remember the Caribbean is maybe 50 or different islands, right? Or
Right.
countries, because not just islands. So we were colonized by the English, we were colonized by the French, we were colonized by the Dutch, we were colonized by the Spanish. The
Hmm.
Danish were in there for a little while, but so they perfected the art of divide and conquer. And it filtered down to us where, oh, you don't want to trust this people over in Bermuda because they're in the Bermuda Triangle. Oh, you don't want to trust this Jamaicans because Jamaicans are into obia. We
Hmm.
have this, we've allowed ourselves to stay divided, right? And not realize that we have, if we came together, not just purchasing power is one thing, but if we came together, or as we come together, we can be so much more than just self-sufficient agriculturally. We are the greatest people on the earth. We've survived what's going on in Gaza right now
Hmm.
is not new. We as Caribbean people, we've survived that for 400 years,
Right.
right? We the fact that you and I are people are persons of melanin, and I know it's a sensitive topic in Cayman Islands, but
Hmm.
we are people who have survived genocide and slavery,
Hmm.
and we've built the greatest civilization as far as creativity, as far as friendliness, as far as culture, whatever I just call it insular, but I think that we are
Right.
have did that, and we have to. The biggest mistake we've made is thinking that we don't need need each other. That's the biggest mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm hoping with everything that's actually transpiring right now and your open invitation to take advantage of being associated member states as CARICOM members, that our powers that be are listening, and that, you know, that can be no more. Because you rightfully, I was looking at a podcast yesterday, and I have to think about Haiti and understanding the role in which the French played when they won the war against Napoleon, and the French vowed that they will never be at peace. Now, when you look at that, it was almost like a curse that was cast on them. And to see what we have actually been able to, and how we've been able to sustain ourselves, even though we're British overseas territory jurisdiction, in comparison to our other brothers and sisters in the region who have opted to become independent, self-governing, we have really done well for ourselves, contrary to everywhere has their own issues. We all know that. National security is a big issue, and I'd like to welcome you back one day to speak on that. But it's amazing from where we have come. You mentioned the Dutch and all of that sort of, but the influences of history that has just continued from one generation to the next, and as subtle as it may be, it still lives today. You think eventually that will actually just go away with our kids going and being exposed internationally, forums such as this, that you can get insights from Bermuda, seeing that we're very much similar, as a matter of fact, identical, but it doesn't take away from who we are at the end of the day. Our needs are the same.
Yeah, I think we'll reach a kind of, in my opinion, we'll reach a very we're almost at a precipice, right? Because a lot of our generation, I'm taking liberty. I'm 57 years old, so I'm just gonna say our generation. We ran away to school.
You're only 6 years
Those of us
older
that
than
ran away
me.
to school, we can't. Okay, all right, cool. So in our generation, our goal was to, our parents' generation was able to afford enough money to send us away to school, and
Right.
we come back home and work and blah blah blah, make life better for ourselves and our family. Our children's generation in Bermuda, and I suspect it's happening in many other Cayman, overseas territories.
Mm-hmm.
Their goal is to go away and stay away,
Yeah.
right? We have a problem in the overseas territories. It's called emigration, not immigration. Emigration. We're all young people, and some of our older people, retirement age persons, are
Mm-hmm.
leaving our islands for good. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They might come back for family holiday or something like that, but for the most part, they are moving away. When we 20 years ago, we were given the privilege of being called British citizens,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to, it's probably been one of the worst things that's happened to Bermuda, because
Mm.
we now have 10% of our population, our native population, has emigrated to the United Kingdom. They're not coming
Oh
back.
wow. Oh
They have
wow.
children being born in England, right? So them emigrating means our birth rate starts going down. It
Mm-hmm.
means we need to put more
You're freezing on me.
on an increased. Sorry,
Go ahead.
can you hear me?
Yeah, now.
What we're seeing now in Bermuda and Cayman Islands and the Virgin Islands and Turks and Caicos Island on an increased basis is that most of our skilled labor now is not Bermudian, is not
Yeah.
native belongers, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So with our native population's birth rate being less than 2.1%,
Right.
2.1, we are going to be in Bermuda's case, within the next 30 years, Bermudians are going to be the minority in the country, right?
And we
Cayman
already see
Islands
on
has
our
already reached
ESO
that
data.
point.
Yeah, we've already reached there. Mm-hmm.
The Virgin Islands has already reached that point. Turks and Caicos has already reached that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we look at all the success, the high rise, and all of that that's happening in our countries, who are we building that for?
Mm-hmm.
Who have we built all that for? We built that for future generations of non-belongers to now rule the roost, right? All people are
Right.
now going to be.
The minority. I'm just
Hello?
hoping that we could, yes, go ahead. Go ahead. We lost you just for a
Hello?
split second. I lost you for a split second, but go ahead.
Hello? Hi, you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Material success, but at the cost of our people, right?
Correct.
At the present rate, you get a demographer on your show. At the present rate, by the year 2050, 2070, I suspect Cayman Islands are going to be less than native commanding, generational commandings are going to be less than 10% of your country.
Oh, wow. Those are sobering
Right.
stats, and definitely I would love to see where we're going. But again, these kids that we brought into the world, that different generation, they have a total different mindset, which sometimes in our respective my role before as a politician, yours now still, you sometimes then have these conversations with our young adults, the future. And what we are beating up each other on, it's like, it's a walk in the park for them. Why are you wasting time? How do you actually bridge that gap and making sure we're fighting for the right things? Even though it's obvious what we're seeing. I'm noticing as well, let me digress just a tad bit. Certain states in the United States now are welcoming voters to at the age of 16 and 17 to now be able to vote. They're considering on lowering the age for young people to vote. So how can you actually almost tap into their world to make sure that we are having the right conversations, making the right policies and legislation, so that when it's almost, I can't say timeless, but you get where I'm going with that, so that when they become our ages, that we're not having them disenfranchised in any way. It's a delicate dance.
Well, it for lack of a better term, we could bring down the price of groceries by 25%, right? Let's just say hypothetically we bring down the price of groceries by 25%.
Mm-hmm.
But if people don't earn, it's going to become irrelevant, because if I bring down the price of groceries by 25%, but I can't even find a place to rent, and I don't have anywhere that I can say this is mine,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I might as well go America.
Yeah.
I could go America to live and have a home ownership.
Right.
I'm going to go do that, right?
Right. Right.
So it starts with, I think Minister J.E. Banks is the Minister for Housing, I want to say.
Housing, correct. Yes.
Right? It's for the next generation,
Mm-hmm.
to keep them rooted in our islands, they have to have some level of home ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Because unless you have that home ownership, what are you wedded to this island for, where you're just working to pay grocery prices and pay rent? Why am I here?
Yeah. They need to feel a part of it. They need to
When
see
there
where
are
the
other
opportunities,
right?
yeah, they need to feel that they can own a stake here without pretty much giving a limb or an organ. And it's almost that possibility is appearing to be further and further away. And this is why, like you rightfully say, having the right persons on to really be able to see how we can navigate this, but have the hard conversations is critical as we move forward and develop in this space, as we educate our masses. But Chris, it has been very good talking with you, bouncing off of each other, and again, our show is coming to an end. But in regards to just looping it back around to how this all evolved, our dependency on importation of our own survival, what would you like to leave with us today in regards to this and how best to move forward?
Well, there's two words. There's dependency and then there's independency, right? Or self-dependency. The only way forward for us from a food perspective, we have to grow our own food, more of our own food. You may not be able to grow all the crops in Cayman Island because you have a different topography, right?
Correct.
That's the only way forward. Otherwise than that, we are going to remain dependent on tropical shipping lines for the next until thy kingdom come. Not to say tropical, not bad mouth and tropical, right? Let me be clear now. But you know, the places such as Guyana have to produce more food. Belize is close. You're closer to Belize than most other islands, right?
Correct.
Get in touch with the people. You got Belize, you got Honduras there. Get in touch with them and see what can happen, because that's the only way to get ourselves off of depending on America for food.
Correct. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights. And I'm looking forward to our continued discussions as we move forward. And I'm looking forward to actually pay it forward and being a guest on your platform as well. We can deal with that off air, but do enjoy the evening. It was very informative. And I thank you for taking the time out of your evening to be with us right here on Sabrina Speaks.
No problem. And remain, and Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, and Cayman Brac, always remain Cayman kind. I love you all, Bobo and TDs.
You got it locked. Take care. Well, there you have it. We've come to the end of another Sabrina Speaks show, and I want to thank everyone for their comments. Ms. Lorna, I will definitely address this in a little bit more detail. I'll probably share a link that I came across as well. Jim, yes, this is a whole different conversation that we can definitely go into based on age development, but it is. You can go and check it for yourself. Some states in the United States are actually looking at considering lowering that age to 16 and 17-year-old. Shaka Zulu, I don't know what you're laughing out loud for, but it has to be something going on. But yeah, I want to thank you all for joining me this evening. I hope that you were informed and you see the similarities. And tune in tomorrow again for another very interesting topic as we continue this discussion as it pertains to sustainability, looking at the cost of groceries, but this time seeing it from the lens of one of our own very big merchants here in the Cayman Islands. That's the representative from Foster's Food Fair. Mr. Woody Foster will be on with me tomorrow evening so that we can hear and participate. Again, your participation is key. That's the only how we will make it work. Until tomorrow, have a safe and fabulous Monday afternoon. That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.